This reviewer is a stupid, idiot, boo-boo head. Warframe is the best, and this review is the worst. Not only am I leaving your video a dislike, but I'm gonna subscribe, just so I can unsubscribe too. You suck.
Really, Nathan? Was it really necessary to leave that rude comment on my video? I have feelings too, you know. Well, maybe not, but your opinions are wrong. I don't understand how you managed to sink over 200 hours into the game, but you don't understand how great the pay model is. Well, first of all, opinions are subjective. And secondly, maybe I was a little harsh on Warframe's pay model. An experienced free-to-play player who puts in the time can be just as geared as someone who spends money on the game, and you know it. Well, yeah, an experienced player sure can.
I think it's best I start off this review of a review with one big statement. I was wrong. Kind of. When I reviewed Warframe about a year ago, Warframe gets a 3 out of 5 stars. This was mainly because I had so many problems with the pay model. Today, I'm here to tell you that that interpretation of the pay model was almost as unfair as it was scathing. However, upon taking the time necessary to reformulate my opinions on the matter, I realized Warframe has a whole bunch of other problems and features that I didn't properly address in my last video. So, without further ado, let's jump back in. Before I get too deep into specifics, I want to touch on the most crucial factor in understanding the basis for my love and hate relationship with Warframe, the game's uncompromising complexity. I'm not sure if it's because of the absurd amount of major updates the game has received, or the sheer ambition and creativity of Digital Extremes, but Warframe is fucking complicated. There are tons of self-contained systems within and outside of the gameplay, and it would be impossible for me to touch on all of them. There are so many, in fact, that even the game itself struggles to explain them to you. What is this new currency I've never seen before? Who is Vazarin, and what's a Uneru? Why can I only trade 13 times a day? Who are the Quills, and where am I supposed to get sentient cores? Why am I a child fighting some big ass... Oh, never mind, I'm dead. Don't get me wrong though, I'm no stranger to games with obtuse mechanics that don't explain themselves. I personally believe that difficulty and complexity can add significant value to a gaming experience. However, Warframe is testing that assumption. Probably the best way to start explaining this concept would be to go back to my initial review of the game. In said video, I bashed Warframe's pay model for a few specific reasons. 1. Nothing is sacred to the developers, and the game allows you to purchase content that should only be obtainable through meeting certain gameplay requirements. This devalues the work of the free-to-play player. 2. Prime Gear is a horrible feature that serves only to milk players for more money. 3. Cosmetics are the only acceptable things sold in the in-game cash shop. At the time of the review, I had around 200 hours logged in Warframe, so I would venture to say I had a solid understanding of how DE makes their money as well as the overall economy of the game. However, I have since adjusted these opinions. 1. The cash shop is problematic, not because it devalues the work of the free-to-play player, but because purchasing most of the items diminishes the value of other in-game activities. 2. Prime packs are actually one of the best ways to spend money on Warframe. 3. Cosmetics are awesome and should be left as is, including Tenogen stuff. To understand where I'm coming from with these opinions, we have to revisit my earlier point. Warframe is fucking complicated. If I'm looking to save money on the game, how the hell am I supposed to know that buying this cool staff that Darvo has on sale for $7 is basically throwing my money away compared to buying the latest Prime pack? If I'm a new player who just randomly decided to buy Plat because I didn't want to waste that sick 20% off discount, how am I supposed to know that buying Gara will alter the rewards of a quest that I'm about to do anyway to give me a Riven mod instead of the blueprint for that exact Warframe? I don't even know what a Riven is at this point. I took the time to research other YouTube reviews of Warframe. The Lazy Peon's 2015 review of the game, with about 350,000 views, is always in the related section of my video. And after 4 hours of game time, even he didn't realize you could obtain new gear without shelling out real money.
In-game way of buying them, we'll have a look. No! We have to pay for them all.
Still not convinced? YouTube power player SkillUp published an in-depth 31-minute review in July of 2017 that has about 1.6 million views at the moment, and even he thought the new Prime Warframes were locked behind a paywall.
He's the latest Prime Warframe released by the developer. He's locked away behind a paywall now.
How could this happen to me?
Still, I could go on and on, but the point is Warframe's complexity is detrimental to the free-to-play experience. I no longer have a problem with Prime parts existing, or cash shop purchases causing lore inconsistencies, but when the game gives you the option to spend $2.50 on fucking nanospores, that's straight up preying on new players. For me, this complete oversight of a cash shop looks like intentional negligence, and I can't help but wonder how many straight up uninformed purchases made by new players contribute to DE's expected quarterly earnings. I know there are Warframe fanboys in the comment section right now getting ready to recreate the opening sequence of this video, but to those unsavory individuals, might I remind you of this crucial moment?
Well, yeah, an experienced player sure can.
An experienced player sure can. An experienced player.
Therein lies the crux of my entire argument. Where new players will fumble, potentially making expensive or unfun mistakes, veteran players will prevail. When you realize that spending money on 99% of microtransactions is not only unnecessary, but actually defeats the purpose of the game, you will understand. DE wants nothing more than to reward devoted Warframe players. But when I say reward, I mean prioritize the experience of, by leaps and bounds. New players will find themselves dealing with all kinds of bullshit, like severely limited inventory space, only being able to trade a couple times a day, and constantly getting pushed mission alerts on planets you can't hope to have unlocked yet. Experienced players, on the other hand, will have all the tools and more to not feel inconvenienced by these frustrating features. The way I see it, there are two types of gamers. The first type consists of folks who will play many different games, generally based on what they can get into easily or their friends want them to try. You might consider them casuals or normies. Your second type consists of gamers who are interested in playing very few titles, often spending months or even years playing a single game. This distinction is probably the best way I can help you decide if Warframe is right for you. If you are looking for a game to play after work for a day or two, or to sit down and beat in a weekend, stay far, far away. And for the love of God, please don't spend any money on the game. However, if you're of more of the hardcore variety, then boy do I have good news for you. Not only will you still be a complete noob at 100 hours, but this will still be the case even if you spent your every waking moment since installing the game reading the wiki or asking questions on Reddit. Like I said, I was wrong about Warframe. I initially thought the game was a thoroughly average experience from start to finish, with glaring pay model problems holding back stellar gameplay. However, I now realize that only new players get the short end of the stick, and that the game is best experienced as a soul-draining addiction preventing you from playing anything else. I want to extend a huge thank you to anyone, especially fans of the game, that sat through both my first Warframe review and this one. If you liked what you saw here, feel free to like and subscribe, and if you didn't, then well, just leave me a comment saying to eat shit or something. This has been Nathan Brother Bob, signing off.